Hello, everyone, and welcome to this devotional with Chaplain Dan. I'm Dan Bonner, and I'm very thankful to be able to share this thought with you. I've set up the scene for this devotional today in a sort of an unusual place. I wonder if any of you notice anything in the background that's unusual. Well, you may see my New York Yankees baseball hat. Yeah, I'll show you up close because when you're viewing this, I'm not quite sure what the record will be, but boy, right now the Yankees have 11 straight wins in the American League East. I'm a big baseball fan, and that may not mean much to you about the wins, but that means 11 wins in a row. And in baseball terms, that's very, very unusual. In fact, it's the longest winning streak the Yankees have had in 35 years. But I'm not here to talk about the New York Yankees. I really wondered if you see anything unusual besides the Yankees, my Yankees hat, and maybe that hat over there. Do you see the back of my head back here? Maybe I could wave to you up here and you get a sense of it. I'm sitting in front of the whole hat tree in our home here at the Wesleyan at Australia, the front door. I'm not here to show you our front door, but I am here because it points out, well, sometimes humorous, but other times very insightful things about the use of a mirror. You see that mirror there showing off the bald spot in the back of my head. That's an inherited age-wise thing that many men have, and you have seen before, I suspect. But it points out the mirror itself, that is, a very useful example or metaphor, analogy to something that God offers to each of us, even today. And that is, when you look in the mirror, or any of us do, we can see ourselves very clearly. In one sense, we can see our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. We can see maybe what color shirt we have on. But we also see, if we look carefully, the blemishes, the imperfections that are in our aging faces. I doubt if you have as many as I do, but without encouraging you just to obsess on staring into a mirror, I'd like to suggest today that if we look in the mirror and see ourselves clearly as we really are, there's also a sense in which we can look at the mirror and see one aspect of what God sees. That is, our faces, our external beings, our lives as we're living them. God sees the way we go about our day-to-day, hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute lives. But God also sees much more than this mirror reveals. God sees deep within us. We call that, in Christian terms, our spiritual life. And I remind you today that God sees deep within us as well as our exterior, as well as our actions, our words. But God also sees in a way that, well, He makes available to us. Sees our futures, sees where we're going and how we're going, and what our destination is. We can not see that in purely human terms, but this morning I want to suggest that the same God who gives us and sees within us our inner life, as well as our outer actions, sees our spiritual life, our life with the Spirit. God can also see that third dimension, and that is what lies ahead. Now, is that totally hidden from us? No, not at all. I remind you today that God has a plan for each of us, and we can read about it in Scripture. I go to prepare a place for you. If it were not so, I would not have told you. A place not made of human hands. You know, those kinds of important texts that give us assurance, encouragement. The writer John Wesley, preacher, church leader of the Methodist movement, called that prevenient grace. And what Wesley meant by that 250 years ago in England was that God shows us little bits and pieces, perhaps, but clear occasions for us to see into our future, into tomorrow, and into our destiny. Prevenient grace. St. Bonaventure in the 12th century called that the guiding hand of God. This morning, I just want to remind us, especially if we're a little anxious about where we're going and how we'll get there, that God not only shows us our face as we can see ourselves in the mirror and as we know ourselves and our actions, but God can show us the future promise, the future steps and not only shows us, but also accompanies us as we go. That means, my brothers and sisters, that we can have the assurance that God is with us. Thanks for being with me today. Somebody is at the front door here in our home. You may have heard the bell ring just now. That means there's something in our futures here at 249 White Wing Drive. But much more important, remember, God knows your future and mine and accompanies us there. We're not alone. Have a blessed day. I'll see you next time. This is Chaplain Dan saying, remember, God is with you. You are not alone today. God bless.